Welcome to This Podcast is Making Me Thirsty, the number one destination for Seinfeld fans. This is Two Up and Two Down. Here's our producer, Chris, to start us off.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a season 6 episode, and it is The Beard. Tony, we're starting with you. What's your first up?
Carol Leifer, favorite. Love to get her on the show. The Beard. First up for The Beard. An all-time George for me. Coming in with the toupee, doing his thing, and then him and Elaine, I think they might have sutured that to your brain. I love that Elaine line. Do you ride if you must, but I am in the game. I am a player. I love that Costanza. Total, coming in strong, and I love the Elaine and him kind of playing off each other where she's just not buying it and he's just got all the confidence in the world. Kramer's like, loving it. Got you beat, buddy. The whole thing. That's my first up, the George scene. This is, if you remember, this kind of comes, the other episode when he gets to pay kind of ends and then we bring it back when he still got it, which I love that they did that. Kind of brings it all together as kind of a double episode, if you will. And this kind of starts it all off. You weren't sure. Sometimes continuity in sitcoms, you never know, and they stuck with it. They let George do another episode with it. I believe did we talk to someone who George maybe wanted a toupee? Jason Alexander maybe wanted one when he started with George, and they were like, "No way, of course not." But anywho, love it. Love it. We talked to the the hair lady there, the hairstylist, friend of the show. So got the lowdown on this one too. But anywho, that's my up.
Yeah, great up, because even though it's called The Beard, we all remember it for the toupee that George wears, and I love it when he enters in and he's twirling and pointing to his head. So great up there. Chris, over to you. What's your first up?
What's the hair lady's name again, Tony?
Judy Crown.
No. All right. First up for me, it's, we talk a lot about, after a situation happens and then back at Monk's, and it's typically Jerry and George, and that's the foundation of the show. But, let's not sleep on Jerry and Elaine here, okay? Him analyzing her date, and obviously you could tell she fell for Robert, or whatever the hell the guy's name was. But and then Jerry saying, "Oh no, you're not thinking of conversion." And the whole, we got a good team, why can't he play for us? That whole kind of back and forth, and it dovetails a little bit into, access to equipment conversation. Jerry and Elaine are excellent during this episode. So for me, them having those one-off talks, be it at the apartment, be it at Monk's, easy one up for me here.
Yeah, good point there. So, Jerry and Lane, those conversations were excellent. So, good solid up. Tony, back to you. What's your second up?
I got a lot written down, and he took one there, so that's okay. I got a lot written down. I actually love it. It ties into the whole, Larry David writing in early season when they're this and that's good, this is good, that's good. It's very, very solid writing there by Carol Leifer, as O'Hara brought up, the whole equipment thing. It's quintessential Seinfeld writing, and she really nailed it on that one. Totally agree. Got a lot written down, so I'm going to take a different one. So many to choose from here. I'm going with, and because I used it already, I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to double down on Costanza. When she threw that toupee out the window, I felt like myself again, totally inadequate, completely insecure, paranoid, neurotic. This episode is packed with classic lines from Seinfeld that'll get repeated over and over, and that's one of them. Just Costanza, just back to his normal self, describing what that's like. It does tie into it could tie into Downs if we go there. Maybe we'll get there, but I think that's the up, is just George describing the feeling of just being free again and just being back to the George that we love. Insecure, paranoid, neurotic, inadequate. That's the Costanza we love, and he's back and back at Monk's talking about it. So that's my second up.
Chris, over to you. What's your second up?
Love that, and I love Kramer's friend then dumping him because he was now bald, and then Kramer, oh, I tell you what she thought. And, Kramer just subtly, in the apartment. Great, not my up though. It is an up, but not my up. For me, listen, at the end of the day, this show, it's called The Beard, but I think we all reference it as the Melrose episode. Catherine Anasa, friend of the show, fantastic as, Sergeant Tierney. The whole thing, the lie detector scene, an all-time great. Unique time, obviously, Melrose on Fox, and they kind of interweave that into the show. Did Billy sleep with Allison's best friend? I mean, unbelievable. You never see that on television today. And then even Elaine and Jerry talking about Melrose, like, oh, I didn't know you watched it. We could have been talking about it the whole time. Really funny. And again, yeah, I mean, it's like Tony, he watches some of this Bravo stuff. So you never know, what comes about, right? So interesting stuff. Relatable, right? That's my point. These things are always relatable. So wonderful job. Love the Melrose stuff. Lanasa knocked it out of the park.
Now we got to go over to Downs. I'm struggling to come up with some decent Downs. So, Tony, what do you got for your first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot written down. We'll get to some of those points I just brought up when we give grades, but I don't have a lot written down. But my down is going to be the Kramer Tupperware stuff with the homeless guy. O'Hara seems pissed. I took it from him. There's not a lot of downs here. I went first. Don't love it. K-Man can't even save that scene. I don't give away Tupperware. It's got the burp. I'm going to keep going with it. And then he apologizes later after being so mad about it, and he puts the cord in the coffee. That's supposed to be the joke again. I just don't love any of that. I think I don't know. Maybe that happened to one of the writers, and they wanted to jam it into the show and thought it might be funny. But to me, it's a small miss in an otherwise very good episode. Kramer wanting the Tupperware back from the homeless guy. Are you going to take Tupperware back from a homeless guy? I mean, let's be honest here. At some point, everyone's got thousands of Tupperwares all over their house, and you'll lose them at your mom's house. You lose them here. You lose them there. You're not taking them back from a homeless guy who just ate out of it. I mean, probably, who knows? Anywho, total down for me, the Tupperware and Kramer.
Chris, your first down. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, what guy talks about Tupperware, period? So maybe that was a Leifer influence, and it is what it is. For me, it's a little tying into that, piggyback a little bit. The last scene, again, with the homeless guy, Kramer in the lineup, I like some of the lineup stuff, but all right, like, enough already. Like, we get it. I like that he took the money the first time, but I didn't think we had to put a bow on that one, if you will. And I think that ended the show. I thought it could have ended with them watching Melrose all bobbing their head, which that should have ended there. And then I think they went back to the lineup. I believe so. So for me, down.
All right. Yeah. Good down there. Tony, over to you. Your second down, please.
I thought it was great time. It's not great time?
No.
All right. My second down, this is the only one I have written down, so I'll go with it. I was ready to give my grade, but we'll go second down. And I know I use this as an up, and I mentioned I may come back here. When George is going on about inadequate again, totally inadequate, insecure. Jerry's bald again joke. I mean, that's a Jerry stand-up joke that he kind of ties into episodes. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. Listen, I'm nitpicking a little bit, yes, but I just think it falls short. You're like a bald again. I don't know. I get what they're doing. I don't know why. I just never loved it. I don't think it's not necessary. Maybe I think we had enough with just George leading that scene, and could have went somewhere else with Jerry there. So that's my down. The bald again joke. It's like a religious experience type thing. I didn't love it. I didn't get a lot of downs, so that's what I'm going with.
Yeah. I mean, that, like I said, that's a throwaway line. It either hits or miss with people. So I see that. Chris, what's your second down?
Yeah, not a lot of downs. So I'm going to go more thematically. This is season 6, but 6, 7. Some of these episodes kind of intertwine a little bit. And I know it's a famous line. Everyone loves it. It's not a lie if you believe it. I'm not knocking the line, but it feels a little bit like The Switch. Like they're kind of he's trying to help out. It's just I don't know. It has that same type of feel. So, and again, why we love Seinfeld is the uniqueness of shows. And when shows feel a little bit the same, it feels a little off. I mean, maybe that's just a gut feeling I have. But for me, it felt that part of it felt like The Switch a little bit and helping out the lie thing, and she's bald, Jerry. Like it was a little too much. I'm with you on all that. So for me, there's not a there's lines, but just thematically, there's a little bit. It felt like other shows. So when that happens, it's a slight down. But it happens when you introduce kind of. We love Leifer, but when you introduce new writers, they may think it's new when it's not really not, even though she was there for most of the run. But for me, a slight down there on the thematic of the show.
All right. Thank you. So that's going to wrap up the 2 ups and 2 downs. So now we're going to go over to the grades. And Tony, what do you have for a grade for The Beard?
Yeah, The Beard. I mentioned season 6. To us, it's 3 through 5 is really prime. 6 is good. 6 is solid. 6 has a lot of great episodes. Very solid episodes. Episodes you'll never turn off. It's not A range. I don't think this episode is quite A range. I've actually bumped my grade up a little bit as I'm talking about this. As I'm looking and having no downs, I can't go as low as I originally had. Here's what I'm going to say about this episode, and O'Hara touched on this a lot. You got a really good Costanza. I don't mind the it's not a lie if you believe it. I get what O'Hara's saying there, but I'll give it to you. I'll give you that one. I think the conversation O'Hara mentioned earlier with the equipment is great writing. So it's a really, really strong Elaine. I like her dancing on the street with Jerry when she gets the guy. She's like, boom, shake, boom. Very, very good Elaine. You're throwing out the toupee out the window. You got a very good Jerry. I mean, O'Hara mentioned an all-timer scene with the polygraph, and he throws it off and he runs away. Friend of the show, Lanassa. I mean, all that said, the missing link here is Kramer. I gave it down. O'Hara gave it down. He's not strong. You don't have all 4 cylinders. To O'Hara's point earlier about the Bravo thing, hey, listen, we were going to shout out Nick Leska. We're going to Nick Leska's house watching Melrose Place all the time. So watch yourself over there. You led the charge there. We sat down. We did the whole thing, too, on the couch. So watching Melrose Place back in the day. But anyway, all that said, I'm going to give The Beard a B+. I'm going out here. I'm giving it a B+. I'm not sure how high I ranked it when we did them back in the day for old fans, but I think on this rewatch and everything we've said, I mean, I got tons of ups and not a lot of downs. I'm not going A range. Maybe I'm a little high with this, but B+ for The Beard.
No, I like that grade. I enjoyed this episode, so I think B+ is solid. So, Chris, I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, hard to argue. And, listen, Carol Leifer, why we love the writers of Seinfeld is they brought real life experiences to the episode. And that's, you can't fake it. It's relatable. And obviously she had that experience. She went on a date with as a beard for a gay thing, the whole thing. So Tony made some great points. I mean, it's one of those episodes, our guys are gone, Sharonis is gone, Ackerman, but you didn't feel that really in this episode. Kramer had some downs, but he was Kramer. It's okay. He was that guy, he brought them to the police station. Like, only Kramer knows a guy who does only Kramer. So, and then obviously the lineup and anything for a buck he'll do. So I enjoyed Kramer in this episode. Elaine, obviously, that dialogue, obviously the team stuff loved. Jerry going crazy, them all sitting down at the couch. It's an episode you don't turn off, but it's not an episode that is at that higher level. So it's kind of, I'm going back and forth here. It's a tough one. the George stuff, the balding woman. I'm giving the beard a B. I can't push it to B plus. It's just not that high of an episode for me. But just a fun episode. And listen, B's a great grade. When you're talking about the greatest show of all time, B's a really good grade. So I'm sticking with that. Leifer, great job. Season 6.
All right, yeah, great. B's and B plus. Great grades. So like you said, it is a fun episode to watch. So yeah, you're never turning it off. You're always going to enjoy it. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. And we'll see everybody at the next episode.